This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to another Louie T Network exclusive as we continue to break down each and every single coaching hire in the National Football League in the 2017 offseason. 4 down, 2 to go. Chargers and 49ers still remain head coachless. We'll continue to track their progress as they look to close in on their next head coaches. We're going to talk about the team that today found their new head coach of the future, the Los Angeles Rams. And they went out and made a big splash by making ex-Redskins offensive coordinator Sean McVay the youngest NFL head coach in history, 30 years old. We'll talk about why AKA Boy Wonder was able to get the job in Los Angeles. And I told you just a day ago that he was so impressive that he was going to have an opportunity. I didn't think he was going to get it. I thought they would say, oh, he's too young. But I told you, he's so sharp. He's so in tune to what's going on the offensive side of the football that I thought he would have a shot. And voila, he wowed the Los Angeles Rams twice. It was so nice they had to interview him twice. And on the second time, it was the charm. He's the new man in charge in Los Angeles. 5-year deal for Sean McVay. We'll talk about all the particulars and all of the dominoes that fall because this one is a little intriguing for me. And again, as a Redskins fan, you know I'm going to break this shit down. I'm going to break it down to a science for you. Whether you're a Redskins fan or Rams fan, you're going to get everything you need to know about this hire here today on the Louie T Network. So stay tuned for that. But first, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content here in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting that red subscribe button on YouTube to become a member of the Louie T Network. Also, I'm on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I broke down all of the games, halftime show, all of that good stuff. I was chopping it up with all the viewers on Saturday and Sunday for the wild card weekend. I'm going to do it again for the divisional round. I'm going to do it again for the championship. So be there on Twitter. At In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. And I'm also on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Going to start using Facebook Live and exploring that. So get ahead of the curve. Go ahead and like the Facebook page as well. All of my social media platforms down below me right now. So let's jump into this big move for the Los Angeles Rams, and we're going to talk about it from the Rams standpoint. I know there are a lot of Redskins fans probably watching this as well, wanting to know, okay, so what's the ripple effect here to the Redskins? I'm going to break all of that stuff down, but we're going to start with the team that actually made the hire here, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. And this is a big hire for them because you look at their football team and the way it's constructed. Everyone looks at them and says, look, man, they've got enough talent on the defensive side of the football. That's not the issue with this football team. You bring the right guy in there, and you just say, hey, you guy, you worry about the defense. Don't worry about the offense. I'll take care of that. And that's why you bring in a guy like Sean McVay. Now, let's talk about Sean McVay first before we talk about what he's going to bring to the table for the Rams. This is a guy that I saw this coming from way, way back in like 2012, okay? He became the Redskins tight ends coach in 2011. By 2012, he was the hot name in Washington. So if you're a Redskins fan, you've been hearing Sean McVay over and over again when he became the tight ends coach, okay, back in 2011. And by 2012, his name, okay, not Kyle Shanahan, his name was the one ringing out in Redskins Park. He was the guy that was, hey, this is the young guy you need to look out for. At that time, Sean McVay was 26 years old as a tight ends coach, and that's the only name you heard. Look, man, this guy's sharp. He's sharp. He's going to be the offensive coordinator one day here. You kept hearing that even while Kyle Shanahan was on the staff in Washington. Then when the Shanahans were booted out, here comes a brand new head coach in Jay Gruden, and still Sean McVay remains. And all of a sudden now he's promoted to offensive coordinator, and you've seen what this man has done over his time in Washington, taking Kirk Cousins from a relative unknown into one of the better quarterbacks in all of the National Football League. You cannot deny what this guy brings to the table. Like I said, you don't become the youngest head coach in NFL history without being as bright as they come. They don't call him Boy Wonder for nothing. This guy is nothing short of remarkable. His ability to dissect defenses, know exactly what they're trying to do, find the holes in defenses, and execute an offensive game plan and put it together is uncanny and maybe unmatched in this league, maybe outside of a guy like Kyle Shanahan, who I think are two of the brightest minds offensively. I know a lot of people love Josh McDaniels. I will take Sean McVay. I will take Kyle Shanahan over Josh McDaniels or anybody else you want to put those guys up against in this league. Give me Sean McVay. Now, I will say this. Kyle Shanahan does a much better job of incorporating the run game than anyone else, okay? But if you're talking about putting together a passing offense, you will not find an offensive mind sharper in this league than Sean McVay. I can assure you of this, okay? You put together a group of players, he will find out their strengths, minimize their weaknesses, put them in positions to succeed time in and time out, and he's going to give you an opportunity to win on the offensive side of the football. And this is why the Rams were blown away, because this guy is so goddamn good at what he does, okay? You don't become an offensive coordinator at the age of 27 unless you know something. His dad was a head coach, his grandfather was a head coach. He's been around football all of his life. This is a guy that absolutely gets it, okay? He went into that Rams interview with a game plan, and they were absolutely floored by what this guy brought to the table. And I'm telling you right now, after watching this guy do what he did in D.C. for the last 5 years, I am telling you with 110% confidence that if Jared Goff is any good, Sean McVay is going to make him a very serviceable quarterback in this league. Coordinators like Sean McVay, coordinators like Kyle Shanahan, what they do is they take mediocre and turn it into good. Take good, turn it into great. Take great and turn it into legendary. Okay? That's what an offensive mind can do. Remember Mike Shanahan and what he did for John Elway? He took a great quarterback, made him legendary by helping him win 2 Super Bowls. That's what an offensive intellectual mind can do for your football team. You saw what Kyle Shanahan did with Billy Ho in Cleveland. Those boys were on the verge of winning the AFC North at one point in that season. They were 6-3. Okay? Billy Ho. Okay? Mediocre quarterback. Made him good. Matt Ryan, a good quarterback, is making him great. Has a chance to take that man and make him legendary if they can make a Super Bowl run this year. That's what Kyle Shanahan can do. That's what Sean McVay can do. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. He's making Kirk Cousins look great. The reason Kirk Cousins is in a position right now to break the bank, make $120 million and about 60 of that guaranteed money, Sean McVay. Don't sleep on this man, okay? Ram fans, you're going to be very pleased. Again, it's all dependent upon the talent there. If Jared Goff is any good, like I said, if Jared Goff is just mediocre, Sean McVay will make him a good quarterback. If Jared Goff is a good quarterback, Sean McVay will make him great, okay? If Jared Goff is a great quarterback, Sean McVay will turn him into a legendary quarterback. That's the kind of guy you got in the saddle. Now, question is, can Les Snead, who's going to be back, okay? Remember, he was on the hot seat after Jeff Fisher got run out of town. The next question was, is Les Snead going to follow behind? Les Snead is going to be back in town in 2017, going to be in control of the draft again. He has to do a better job of surrounding Jared Goff and the rest of that offense with talent. Look, the defense is chocked full of talent. How many first-round picks you're going to spend on that side of the football? It's time to start devoting your resources to the other side of the football, okay? So you spent the first-round pick last year on Jared Goff. You don't have a first-round pick this year because of what you did to go get Jared Goff. Now you have to surround him with talent. and you need some receivers. You need the offensive line to be better. There's a lot of work to be done here. So if you want Sean McVay to work his magic, you're going to have to go out and get him the tools necessary to make that happen. But there's no doubt in my mind that Sean McVay is going to come in, and like I said, this is the best thing that could have happened to Jared Goff. The absolute best thing, because Sean McVay is not going to rest until he makes sure that Jared Goff has the best game plan in front of him week in, week out to succeed. Sean McVay is that sharp. He's that meticulous. He's that detail-oriented. He's going to put Jared Goff in the best positions to succeed. Jared Goff is going to have a shot now. Now, I'll tell you this right now. Your run game, not going to be all that great. Sean McVay is a stickler for being consistent and trying to run the football, but his imagination in doing so isn't all that great. Okay, I will not lie to you. Your run game wasn't great last year. I don't expect it to be much better in 2017. But what I will tell you is that you will throw the football more effectively no matter who's out there. Now, if you want this passing game to excel and take the next step, you want Jared Goff to take that next step, then you're going to need better targets out there for him to get the football to. But I'll tell you this much. Guys are going to be a lot more open than they were this year because the offense is going to be a lot more structured. It's going to be a lot better at dissecting defenses and putting guys in positions to win. Trust and believe when I tell you, this is the best hire you could have made on the offensive side of the football here. At the head coaching position, he's going to oversee everything, but his main baby is going to be Jared Goff and this offense, and Sean McVay is going to put this offense in the best position possible week in and week out to be successful. Now, the question is, who does he go to get to be his defensive coordinator? That's going to be huge. And if you're a Redskins fan, this hire should scare the hell out of you. Here's why. This is one of the premier jobs for a defensive coordinator. If you're a defensive coordinator and you're looking for work and you want your name to stay relevant, you want a good defensive coordinator job. You want a job where you look up and you say, wow, that guy's talented. 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 I can do something with this. Well, if you want a team like that, you want a defense chocked full of talented players, does it get any better than the Los Angeles Rams on the defensive side of football? If you're talking just pure talent, does it get any better? I don't know. In terms of jobs that were available. So if you're a Redskins fan, you better go get your goddamn defensive coordinator ASAP. Because if you want Wade Phillips, if you want Gus Bradley, you want one of these big names, they're looking at that Rams job now and they said, hey, that's a very attractive job. And now they got a coach. And I know that coach. I might go work for him out in Los Angeles. Because if I'm Sean McVay, I want nothing to do with the defense. Nothing. No parts of it. I want to go get a guy that I trust to handle the defense. Take that off my plate. I've already got enough. This is my first time. I'm 30. First time being a head coach. I don't need to worry about the goddamn defense. Okay? I don't need to worry about the defense. I'm going to let somebody that I trust, whether it's Wade Phillips, Gus Bradley, whomever. I'm going to get somebody that I trust, that I know can handle that side of the football. I don't even have to worry about that. And I can just take care of the offense. I can focus all of my attention on developing Jared Goff and making sure that Todd Gurley gets his necessary touches and we get him the football out of space and we make this offense as explosive and dynamic as it could possibly be. Tavon Austin, Kenny Britt, whomever. Tyler Higbee is about to turn into a stud. He's going to probably be running a lot of the same routes Jordan Reed did in the Redskins offense. This Rams offense is about to turn it up. And the main reason, the man you're looking at right there, Sean McVay. So, from a Rams standpoint, you hit a home run in terms of an offensive mind. Now, how does he handle all of the responsibilities of being a head coach? We don't know that. He's 30. He's never been here before. So you can't account for that yet. But what I do know is that he's going to put together a masterful game plan week in, week out, especially in the passing game. Especially in the passing game. They're going to have to protect better. But if Jared Goff is any good, Sean McVay is going to get the most out of him. I can assure you of that. Now, from the Redskins standpoint, what this means is we don't have an offensive coordinator. I'm here to tell you we're not going out and getting one. Now, what they'll probably do is in-house from within, they'll promote someone from, let's say, Matt Cavanaugh, the quarterback's coach. Well, you're our new offensive coordinator. It'll be a figurehead position. They'll give it to him. He'll have the title and the name, but he's not calling any of the plays. All that responsibility is going to be given to Jay Gruden, who loves calling plays anyway. That's his first true love. So he's going to go back to calling the plays. He's going to take over because I'm not mad at Jay for this. If I'm going to go down, I'm going down with my gun fully loaded and me doing the one pulling the trigger. Guns are blazing, okay? I'm not going to let somebody else come in here and F things. I trusted Sean McVay. He was here when I got here. We were working close proximity with one another. We were in synchronicity. I knew what he was thinking. I trusted Sean. This next cat that's going to come in here, if we were to go outside, I wouldn't know him, or I might know him, but I might not trust him with my job on the line. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to promote from within, but I'm going to be the one doing the play calling. Redskins aren't going to look outside for a new offensive coordinator. Jay Gruden's going to be your new offensive coordinator in the nation's capital. So look for that to be that change. This has nothing to do, no impact whatsoever on the defensive coordinator position, other than the fact that what I just said, that if you're looking to get a Gus Bradley, if you're looking to get a Wade Phillips, if I'm those guys, this job is more attractive from a defensive talent standpoint than the Redskins job. Redskins job stinks when it comes to talent. We have none, okay? We got Josh Norman and a bunch of other guys. We got one A-list player and a bunch of B- C players on that Redskins defense. The rest are D's and F's. So you could go to a Rams team where there are A players all over the place and a bunch of B's sprinkled in and a few C's, or you could go to the Redskins with one A player and a bunch of unknowns. They're going to want to go to Los Angeles. So as these jobs start to fill up, you got to ask yourself, do you want a good defensive coordinator or do you want a good defensive coordinator? Because if the answer is I want a good defensive coordinator, you better find your defensive coordinator now before they start seeing these other jobs open up and head coaches in place. Like in this particular case, see the other jobs out in, like let's say Jacksonville. That's an attractive job. I talked about that. That's a talent-based Jaguars defense. It's young, it's hungry, it's talented. They just need direction. You think if I'm Wade Phillips, I don't want to go to Jacksonville or Los Angeles instead of Washington? You damn right. And see, the reason why Wade Phillips' name isn't circulating yet, it's not percolating, is because that whole situation in Denver was unresolved. He's not coming back to Denver now. With the hire of Vance Joseph, most likely he's going to hire Woods as his defensive coordinator. And if he does that, well, guess what? Now Wade Phillips is available. And if I'm Wade Phillips, I want something that's ready-made. I don't want to, look, you know how I am about my complete pancake mix, man. I don't want all that extra stuff. I don't want to add eggs and oil and all that nonsense. Give me the complete pancake mix, man. I want the box that's already assembled. I just got to add water. I just want to add water and stir and pour and flip. The Rams defense is a complete box of pancake mix, man. You just pour, add Wade Phillips and stir, and it's all good. Same thing in Jacksonville. Redskins, not so much. You want to make that, that's the real pancake mix. It's not complete. You got to add eggs. You got to add butter. You got to add oil. You got to add milk. It's a lot of ingredients you need outside of the mix itself. No defensive coordinator is really looking forward to doing all of that stuff. Nobody's looking. Wade Phillips is like 75. He's not looking to have to revamp a defense if he doesn't have to. I want some stuff that's already assembled, and I just got to come in and make sure that they run smoothly. That's it. Denver's like that, okay, which is where he's leaving from. And he's like, you know what? The next place I go, I want it to be like that too. Jacksonville and Los Angeles, okay? Those are the two places that have hired offensive guys, so they're going to need someone to run their defenses. In Buffalo, they hired a defensive-minded guy. He's not looking for another defensive-minded guy to come in and run that defense. He wants control of that defense. So he wants to have someone he can trust underneath his thumb that he says, all right, look, this is how we're going to do it. So he's going to have a watchful eye in Sean McDermott in Buffalo. Same thing with Vance Joseph in Denver. He's going to have a watchful eye over Woods, his guy that he's looking to bring in. I'm going to know exactly what he's thinking, and if I don't like it, I'm going to make sure he corrects it. You don't want another big personality in there if you're a defensive-minded guy. You don't want another big defensive-minded guy in there because he may think about ways to do things, and you want it done a certain way, and you're the coach, so of course you can override his thoughts and what he wants to do and his philosophies, but you don't want that. It's a really toxic situation. So you bring in a guy you trust that you can kind of be the puppet master of. And so in this particular position in Jacksonville with their head coach, Doug Marrone, those are offensive-minded guys. They're just looking for somebody to come in and, hey, the defense is yours. Take care of that. I don't want any parts of that. So what I'm saying to the Redskins fans out there, look, if you want Gus Bradley, we met with him yesterday, offer him a deal. Get him under contract now. Because the longer you wait and the more of these jobs become full with these head coaches and these vacancies at defensive coordinators start to become relevant. Because 2 days ago, the Rams didn't have a head coach, so that defensive coordinator position was of no consequence. No one's talking about it. Now that they have a head coach, he's going to start filling out his coaching staff. And the first thing I'm doing if I'm McVay is I'm looking for a damn good defensive coordinator. And you tell me right now, what defensive coordinator wouldn't be looking at that Rams job and saying, shit, I can get a head coaching job off of this damn job. I turn these boys into some damn menaces next season. They go out and they get 60 sacks, and we generate the most turnovers in the league. Hell, the Rams, the offense could still stink. If I go out and do what I do on defense with these boys, I might get me a head coaching job. Same thing in Jacksonville. Then you just lost out on 2 big name coordinators just like that. And then you're left with the guy in Carolina, the DB coach. I'm just saying, but hell of a hire by the Los Angeles Rams. We'll see how it works out for them. Now, let's get to your comments and see what you guys have to say about this one. I'm excited for him, man. I'm going to be secretly rooting for Sean McVay, man. This is my guy. So I'm looking forward to seeing him succeed in Los Angeles with this Rams football team. I'm going to be rooting for him. Gregory Lightbody says, what do you think the Redskins will do now? And I basically explained that already. Andre P. Musgrove says, hopefully we don't let Kirk hit the market, man, because I guarantee you L.A. will be his landing spot. They're not going. Los Angeles is not paying him the kind of money when they got Jared Goff already. He's not going anywhere. If Sean had went somewhere else where they didn't have a quarterback, then that would have been the case. But being that they have Jared Goff, they invested too much in Jared Goff. They spent picks. They don't have a first-round pick this season because of Jared Goff. All right, they're not going out on the free agent market and getting Kirk Cousins. That's not going to happen. But I will say this. If Kyle Shanahan were to take a job, he loves Kirk Cousins as well. So in any event, it's not going to happen. You don't have to worry about Kirk hitting the open market. You just want to see them sign him to a long-term deal, which, truth be told, I still don't know if it's going to happen or not. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, who are the Redskins replacing with? I already answered that. They won't. I mean, they'll have a figurehead, a guy that is posing as the offensive coordinator. We've seen that in various spots where you have a guy as a quote-unquote offensive coordinator, but he's not calling a damn thing. All right, Jay Gruden's going to be that guy now. Jay Gruden's going to take over the play-calling duties, if I had to guess, in Washington, which is him being at home. I mean, he loves calling plays. And anyway, so I just see Jay Gruden taking over that duty and them just moving forward with that. Disco Jump Rope says, so is it time for him to clean house? What do you think he will do with the QB situation? If you're talking about McVay, what do you mean? What is he doing with the QB situation? There's nothing to be done. Jared Goff is his guy. He doesn't have a choice. When you're the Rams and you spend 2 first-round picks to go up and get Jared Goff, there's no ifs, ands, or buts as to who's going to be your next quarterback. It's Jared Goff. And then after Jared Goff, it's Jared Goff. And after Jared Goff and Jared Goff, it's Jared Goff. He's your quarterback. They're going to, just like Blake Bortles in Jacksonville, they got a new coach in there, but they're like, hey, can you fix Blake? The same thing happened with the Redskins. When Kyle and Mike Shanahan left D.C. and Jay Gruden came in, they're like, hey, can you fix Robert Griffin III? Make sure you can't fix him first before you move on. Same thing going to happen with Jared Goff, but the difference here is he's only been in the league 1 year. So he's got plenty of time to develop and mature. It's a brand new offense, so it's going to take a little bit of time. Give him some time. He'll be fine. Andre P. Musgrove says, think Bill Callahan will take his spot too? I doubt it. I mean, like I said, they're going to give that position to probably someone, maybe in title. Bill Callahan would be fine. He's called plays before in this league, but like I said, I think Jay Gruden is going to do it himself. If I had to guess, it'd be him doing it and no one else. But Callahan wouldn't be that bad of an option, but you kind of want him to just focus his attention on that offensive line still. So I would assume that, if I had to guess, they're going to promote someone. Maybe maybe it is Callahan. Like I said, maybe it's someone else, Matt Cavanaugh. Who knows? At this point, it really doesn't matter. It's of no consequence because I think Jay Gruden, when it's all said and done, is going to be the one calling the plays. RG3 hashtag smoking that 3 hashtag 1000 says, will the Redskins offense suck next season? No. I mean, the only thing I can tell you right now, the biggest takeaway from this move and the effect that it will have on the Redskins offense next year is that they will run the football less. Okay, Jay Gruden is a guy that he passes to set up the run. He's not a guy that runs to set up the pass like McVay is. McVay believes in staying balanced, which I think myself, I'm a huge stickler for staying balanced. You know, the teams that throw it more than they run it in this league generally aren't as successful unless you have an elite quarterback like a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or a Drew Brees. If you don't have one of those quarterbacks, which the Redskins don't, then you can't afford to throw it 42 times every game, which Jay Gruden has no problems doing. He did it in Cincinnati with Andy Dalton. When they would throw it more than they would run it, they used to have problems in Cincinnati. That was the biggest gripe of the Bengals fans when he was their coordinator was, damn it, he throws it too much. We saw it in that playoff game when they lost to the Chargers. He threw it unnecessarily. First and goal from the one, and he throws it to A.J. Green, and it gets picked off unnecessarily when they were having success running it down the throats of the Chargers. It's what Jay Gruden loves to do. He's an ex-quarterback. He loves to throw it at heart, and so he has no problems being 60-40 pass to run ratio. And that's what his ratio essentially was when he came to Washington, and I don't see that changing. So the one thing that I can say, you thought the Redskins didn't throw it enough, didn't run it enough last season? Wait till you see Jay Gruden calling the plays. But no, they will not suck. I can assure you of that. At least not on the offensive side of football. I can't vouch for the defense. Chris Davis says, does the coaching staff take a hit with Sean's departure? Sure it does. Sure it does. I mean, he had a great continuity with Kirk Cousins, and that was one of the few guys that Kirk Cousins knew was in his corner in the nation's capital. He knew Sean and Jay had his back. He couldn't vouch for anybody else having his back because those guys were down for him since day one, since he was a rookie in 2012. Okay, McVay especially because Jay wasn't even there in 2012. Jay didn't get there till 2013. McVay was there when he was drafted and worked with him when he was drafted. So Kirk knew he could trust Sean McVay. Sean had his back. Sean's gone now. It's just Jay. That's the lone wolf that has Kirk's back in the organization right now. Everyone else, you're not really sure. You don't know your friend or foe. State your biz. You tend to dough? There it is. Me, I run the show. Oh, and these kids don't like nobody coming around here with their dope and So we gonna find out just how many guys are in the corner of Kirk Cousins now that Sean McVay is gone. I think it's just Jay. But in any event, that's a great guy to have in your corner, the head coach, right? So we'll see. But it's definitely gonna take a toll. It's like I said, I think it's gonna hurt the run game, which was already bad anyway. I think it's going to hurt it that much more because Jay doesn't give a damn about the run game, to be honest with you. So we'll see. Nick Riley says, bro, what's your thoughts on the ugly-ass Chargers logo? I'm actually going to do a video on that, man. I was actually going to do it at the top of this show, but I didn't want to take away from I didn't want to bury the lead, okay? The lead is Sean McVay being the new head coach of the Los Angeles Rams and being the youngest head coach in NFL history. I didn't want to bury that by talking about the Chargers. Then y'all would have took the conversation in a totally different direction. We're not doing that. I'll separate and isolate that by giving it its own attention and own video. So we'll talk about that later. B. Militant says, what do you think this means for the Skins offense and Kirk Cousins' future? That's probably the biggest question here is you wanted to insulate Kirk with trust. The way to do that is by having people around him that he knows has his back. Sean might have been his biggest supporter, followed by Jay Gruden. You just took his biggest supporter away from him. Kirk, you saw it when we beat Green Bay, when he asked our general manager, Scott McCloughan, how you like me now? Like, that wasn't playful. That wasn't him joking. He was dead ass. That man was dead ass when he said that. Because he knew that the rumors that came out earlier, they came from Scott McCloughan. So he was challenging that man. How you like me now? He don't know who he can trust in the organization. So if I'm Kirk Cousins, I want to be somewhere where not only do you think I'm the guy, you believe in me, but I got people that I can trust in. You're starting to lose those guys in Washington. So from that standpoint, this is another blow to having Kirk Cousins sign on the dotted line in Washington. Now, you come with enough money, all of that other stuff goes away. But right now, this doesn't help signing Kirk Cousins back to a long-term deal. I can tell you that right now. But as far as the offense, I've already explained to you what that means for the offense. We're going to run it a lot less with Sean McVay gone. Newscaster News 4 says, do you think McVay can groom Jared Goff into a good quarterback? I already explained that as well. Absolutely. Like I said, if Jared Goff has any talent, if he's mediocre, McVay will make him good. If he's good, McVay will make him great. If he's great, McVay will make him legendary, potentially. That's how good Sean McVay is at drawing up plays, putting together game plans, and helping guys develop. You saw it with Kirk Cousins. You're going to see it with Jared Goff. Give Jared Goff 2 years in this offense with Sean McVay, working closely with him. Watch the dividends that he reaps working with a genius, an offensive genius, and workaholic like Sean McVay. Jonathan Adams says, wow, I kind of saw this coming to a certain extent. Yeah, I think we all did. I didn't believe it was going to happen this year. I thought maybe next year he'd get a head coaching job, but I knew the Rams were smitten, okay? When they had him come back for the second interview, that's when I really started to believe. That's when I really said for the first time, hey, Sean about to be gone. So I knew he was smart enough to get this done. And I told you, his attention to detail is uncanny. Second to none in this league as an offensive mind. So I knew he was going to go in there and blow them away, and he did. And like I said earlier, he was so nice, they had to interview him twice. And after the second one, they had seen enough. This was the guy. This was their guy. So I saw that coming. RG3, hashtag smoking at 3, hashtag 1000 says, Sean McVay should draft O-line to help out Goff. And I'm thinking that, and remember, he's not the general manager. He's not in control of who they draft. That still is the job of the general manager. And so we'll see what they decide to do in this draft. I talked about that at the top of the show as well, that they're going to have their general manager back in the fold in Les Snead. So we'll see what Les Snead decides to do, because they need a lot of help on the offensive side of football. Offensive line help, skill positions, all of those things need to be filled with talented football players. And you don't have a first-round pick. Not saying that's the end-all, be-all, but it does hurt. It hurts a lot. We'll see what happens there, though. RG3, hashtag smoking at 3. Oh, I just read that one. Rarely Eva says, sup, Lou? Sup, Ree? This is bizarre to me. He said, this reminds me of when the Bucks hired Raheem Morris. He was young, had a brilliant football mind. I hope this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. Nah, this is a little bit different. When you hire a brilliant defensive guy, it's one thing. When you hire a brilliant offensive guy, like he know his stuff offensively. Raheem Morris was a brilliant defensive guy, but to me he was just like, he was full of energy. You know, he was a big ball of energy. He's a rah-rah players guy. That was all good. You know, he was totally different than what the Steelers got in Mike Tomlin, who's another defensive guy. But that was a guy that got it, and you could tell there's a difference. Sean McVay is more like is more like Mike Tomlin than he is Raheem Morris. You pretty much know what you're getting here. It's all about time, talent, and the development of that talent on this football team. If they can get all those things working in the right direction together, this is going to be a dangerous football team in Los Angeles. Jonathan Adams says, since McVay is gone, I wonder who the Redskins will bring in to replace him and defensive coordinator. And I've already talked about both of those things and what this move means for the Redskins. RG3, hashtag smoking at 3 says, I see McVay bringing the Rams to the playoffs. It's going to take this is not an overnight fix. There was a reason why this was the 5th best job available of the 6. This isn't a quick fix. You don't just show up and this team is in the playoffs next year. Not only is that a tough division, but it's the Rams. They got a long way to go. Give him 2 years. Jared Goff isn't just going to show up next year and because of the brilliance of Sean McVay just be playing lights out football. Even Matt Ryan struggled in year one with Kyle Shanahan. You need 2 years in any system to be really comfortable with what you're being asked to do. So give him 2 years. Next year, this time, you should be expecting Jared Goff to make a huge leap. It'll be his 3rd year in the league and his 2nd in the same offense with a guy that's really going to coach him up very well. So I'd say this time next year, you should be excited if you're a Rams fan about the prospects of Jared Goff being a big-time quarterback for you. You'll at least know what you have by then because I think you should be seeing the maturation of Jared Goff unfold right before your very eyes this time next year. Rarely even says, Lou, this is like a young couple that is so eager to get married and then they do and it doesn't work. I won't say that. I mean, you're acting as if you already know how this is going to turn out, Ree. You can't let your bad experiences cloud your judgment here. You got to give this an opportunity to work. Sean McVay is unlike anyone your Buccaneers have ever dealt with. The closest thing you can probably relate to is John Gruden, who also was a very young head coach. But remember, he got his start in Oakland. You already knew the commodity you were getting when you traded for him in Tampa. This is similar to what the Raiders did with John Gruden, making him the youngest head coach at the time in NFL history. McVay is that sharp on the offensive side of the football. I'm telling you, this guy has it. Question is he going to be able to have enough help around him, whether it's talent, coaching staff-wise, or the defense to get this thing turned around in enough time? That's the question. We'll see. BE says, as a Cardinals fan, this signing makes the Rams a legit team now to get that much better. Look, the Rams still have a ways to go. But I'm telling you right now, on the offensive side of football, McVay makes them legit. And I think it's going to take 2 years. Not this upcoming season. You're going to start to see bits and pieces, and you'll start to see the wheels turning in the right direction. I think next year, when they head into the season, if you're a Rams fan, you should be excited about what's to come from this Rams offense. Black Al Bundy, what's going on, Black Al B, says, Rams weren't thinking retread coach with this hire. Let's see how this goes. And they're at a position now where you don't want to retread here. You're a young team. You're in a new environment, 2nd year in L.A. It's time to go fresh. Everything brand new. Let's do it. Let's start over. And why not go young? This team is young. Let's go with a young coach. Let's go in a different direction. Let's be young, vibrant. And you're in an environment where young and vibrant is all around you in L.A. Let's just keep going with that theme. And I really love this hire for them. Josh Berman says, do you think this can be a playoff team in a year or in the future? In the future, maybe. Not next season. I still think there are some draft picks, some free agent signees, some moves away from becoming legit. But I've seen stranger things. I mean, I didn't think Adam Gase was going to get the Dolphins, even though that team was talented on both sides of the football. This team, not so much. Okay, this team has talent on the defensive side, not so much the offensive side. They've got a couple of pieces, but I don't think they have enough. But again, they make the right moves in this offseason, and that's the job of Les Snead. If he can make some right moves, who knows? We'll see. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, is Kirk Cousins going to be trash without him? No, I've already answered that. Bossaholic says, are you going to talk about the Chargers move? I am. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on tonight. Black Al Bundy says, my homie who's a Rams fan told me apparently Wade Phillips is coming over there too. I don't know how true that is. Hashtag, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Look, I've heard that rumor too. I've heard that McVay was like, hey, if I get the gig and Wade Phillips is no longer in Denver, that's the guy I'm targeting. And that's what I'm saying. If you're a Redskins fan, this hire should scare the hell out of you because now this is another job that's more attractive than the Redskins defensive coordinator job. So if you're the Redskins, you had opportunities. You fired Joe Barry, what, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it was. You've had an opportunity to figure out what you want to do, and you need to make it quick before these jobs started filling up. Now the Jags have an opening at defensive coordinator. That's an attractive job. Now the Rams have an attractive opening at defensive coordinator. If I'm a D coordinator, I'm going to go there. I want to go to Jacksonville before I want to go to Washington. So I'm not saying. I'm just saying. That from my man Black Al Bundy. RG3 hashtag smoking that 3 hashtag 1000 said that Ram O-line is garbage as what Pac-Man Jones would say. Yeah, that Rams O-line is trash. That's part of the reason Todd Gurley had no rushing yards last year. They're going to have to fix that. If Jared Goff is going to have a shot, if Todd Gurley is going to have a shot, they're going to have to fix the offensive line. I think that might be your first order of business. You know, you might say, all right, look, they got a bunch of receivers. Figure out which ones can play. But in the meantime, we need to fix this offensive line, and we need to fix it right now. So they need to figure out some things. Like Greg Robinson, maybe he's not a left tackle. Maybe he's a guard. Figure it out. You don't want to waste the second overall pick in the draft. Okay? So you got to try to figure out how you're going to get something out of Greg Robinson. If it's at guard, put his ass at guard. Figure it out. Draft the left tackle, put him at guard, and let's keep the party going. But you got to figure out how we're going to get the best 5 offensive linemen on the field that's going to help us win in Los Angeles. Mondraw says, is McVay the youngest head coach that wasn't an interim head coach, or that came from inside the franchise? No, he's the youngest head coach ever. There's never been a 30-year-old head coach before, ever. There's been 30-somethings, never 30 years old. Brian Emerson says, how many years till the Rams get to 8-8 or better or make the playoffs? Like I said, give them 2 years. Not this upcoming season, but the year after that. So in 2018, look for the Rams to be a dangerous team. I really feel like, especially if they get a real defensive coordinator in there, they could be dangerous. They could be scary. It could even happen, like I said, it could happen next season. I'm not putting my money on that. I still think that everything has to come together. McVay needs time to acclimate himself to Los Angeles, really study Jared Goff. He's going to do that all offseason, but really get a feel for what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, minimize the weaknesses, highlight and accentuate the strengths, and really get some of these players, Tavon Austin out in space, Kenny Britt, figure out how to utilize these guys best. Who's going to be best where? Figure out what you have. Is Higbee a real big threat at tight end? I think he can be. So he's going to have to figure out all these things, get a feel for the NFC West division. You know, it's one thing when you're in the NFC East and you've been there and you understand what the competition has and what they have to offer. It's a totally different environment for him. So he's got to figure out all, and he will. Trust me, McVay will do all of those things. It's just going to take time. Vincent Coe says, I like this hiring. I feel like he's going to be a good coach for the Rams. As do I, but again, never seen it before. He's very young. We'll see. I know he's going to make this offense very good for the Rams. I can assure you of that. He's a really good people person, really good with the players. Again, can he be a hammer when he needs to be, though? Can he come down on a player's ass? He hasn't had to do that. When you're a coordinator, you don't have to do that. When you're a positional player, coach, you don't have to do that. He's in charge of all of the players now, not just a room. So we'll see what happens with that. But Nick Riley says, give Sean 3 to 5 years. He's going to have that offense rolling. I agree. It may even be a little bit sooner than that. But 3 years, I think, definitely have that thing rolling in Los Angeles. The Laughing Samoan says, are you going to give your opinion on the Chargers move to L.A.? I am. Rarely even says, Lou, did you see that trash-ass Chargers logo? I did. Nick Riley says, hey, that real pancake mix tastes better, though, Lou. It does. It does. But in this case, that's not what you're looking to do, man. You're not looking to have the real pancake mix. You're looking for that complete box, man. Just pour, stir, and serve, man. That's what you're looking to do right now. Not coming in here trying to build a defense, man, from scratch, if I'm a defensive coordinator. Black Owl B says the Chargers make the playoffs this past season. They still moving? Maybe not. You know, losing, I told you, winning cures all, losing creates problems. And so I don't know. We'll see. Nick Riley says you might have the eater right away, but that you want, but boy, let me read this again. Nick, you over here killing me, man. He says you might not have the eater right away that you want, but boy, you got to add those blueberries and banana nut. Okay, I see what you said. Yeah. Hey, and I get that. And I understand that, but I'm telling you right now, they got everything. You can still add the blueberries, the strawberry, bananas, nut, whatever you want to add. You can add that to the complete mix too, man. That stuff you can even buy the box with blueberries already in it. Like the complete is already done. You don't even have to do nothing. Like that's beautiful. Not with that pancake mix, the one where you got to actually go in and do everything yourself. Nah, buddy, you got to add all those ingredients yourself. So you get what I'm saying. You know what's good, man. Vincent Coe says, what do you think about Mike McCoy being offensive coordinator for the Broncos? I think that's good for developing Paxton Lynch, though. If it happens, that would be a great move, and there's been rumors as to that happening. So we'll see what happens there. But yes, you want an offensive mind in there with a young quarterback. That's why this is a great move for the Rams, because you're getting a brilliant offensive mind with a young quarterback. Nothing could happen better to a young quarterback than having a great offensive mind that does nothing but devote his time to making sure that young quarterback gets it and succeeds. That's what you're getting here, and that's what you could be getting in Denver if they get the right man as their offensive coordinator. Rarely even says, are you worried, Lou? Things are not looking good right now for you guys. I am worried. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't, because we're going to end up with a bum-ass defensive coordinator here in a little bit if we don't act fast. So, yes, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I was just a teeny tiny bit worried. I am. Lionfire says, Rams are a good team for him. I heard Goff likes to throw fades to the end zone. Stop your nonsense, man. Stop your nonsense. Dupree Wilkins says, do you think McVay going to bring, who do you think he's going to bring in as his OC? Doesn't matter. It really doesn't. If he has an offensive coordinator, it'll be, normally when a guy's young like him and his first job, you want control over everything. So I really see McVay calling the plays here, not allowing that to be done by someone else. So even, like I said, with the Redskins, it'll be a figurehead, someone with the title of offensive coordinator, but look for McVay to call the plays. Maybe after year one, if it doesn't work for him, calling plays, he may delegate that to someone else if he feels like he's in over his head. But usually when a first-time head coach comes in and is an offensive-minded guy, he wants to call plays that first year. And until he realizes, man, I got too much shit to do to be calling plays too. I got too much to worry about to be calling plays. I'm going to let somebody else do that. He'll still have his hand in the game plan, obviously, but year one, fully expect McVay to call plays. Abraham Lopez says, Kirk getting traded for Gurley and Goff. Nah, that's not happening. That's a funny trade, though. RG3 hashtag spoken at 3 hashtag Taylor says, who are the top 3 coordinators available? What are you talking about? Offensive or defensive? Lionfire says the Redskins will get another OC. I don't see it happening. Like I said, I fully expect Jay Gruden to call the plays in D.C. B.E. says, Lou with the rhymes. If you heard what I said, then you know where I got it from. Nick Riley says, Lou got them bars. Stay tuned for In the Lab Room mixtape coming soon. Like I said, for y'all hip-hop heads out there, you know exactly where I got that from. Y'all stupid. King Y1000 says, do you think Sean ready for being a head coach? I think he needed a few more years as an OC. That's what we're going to find out. Offensively, he was ready to go. He was ready to go right now. Overall, was he ready, prepared mentally for the challenges that are going to present themselves as a head coach versus an offensive coordinator? That remains to be seen. I don't know the answer to that. We're going to find out together, and we'll see what happens there. But as an offensive mind, he was ready. He was ready long ago. It's all about timing, and now is he ready to take on the challenge of having to galvanize 53 men and get them all on the same page and win football games? We'll see. We will see. DMV Pride 10 says, would you prefer Jay to take over play calling or the new OC, Callahan, Kavanaugh, etc.? I would prefer Jay to get it, the play calling. I think he's comfortable. And I know Jay, much like McVay, they design a beautiful offense. Our passing offense isn't going to let up at all, one iota, because Jay is just as good as Sean McVay is at diagramming offensive sets, putting your players in the best position to succeed, and giving Kirk opportunities to light it up. So I have nothing but the utmost confidence. Everything that we did offensively wasn't just Sean and it wasn't just Jay. It was those two together. Jay can do it on his own. We've seen him do it in Cincinnati. I fully expect him to be able to do it in Washington. So I'm good with Jay taking over the play calling. Perfectly fine with that. As long as he understands what that's going to take and what that entails. and he's also able to handle the responsibilities of being a head coach on game days, challenges, and timeouts. And he's been horrible with clock management. So anything that's going to detract from that, I don't want that, obviously, but I think Jay would make a great play caller. So, for what it's worth. Abraham Lopez says, why 2 years for Goff? Dak is already a Hall of Fame already. Also Zeke. Because of that offensive line. Look at the Rams' offensive line. Look at the Cowboys' offensive line. And then ask yourself that same question. And then maybe you'll be able to answer that question too. Lionfire says, I'm not as impressed as everyone with McVay. I think he's going to fall on his face. Look, you're killing him for the fades. That was Kirk checking to fades. Those weren't fades called in the huddle. Those were Kirk getting to the line of scrimmage, liking the look he got, and throwing fades, okay? So if you're going to beat Sean up for that, don't. That's not him calling those plays. That's Kirk getting to the line, and it might have been a run, and Kirk saying, you know what? I like that one-on-one matchup out there. Can this run and check to a fade? That's not McVay. Sean McVay is electric as an offensive coordinator. You'll find out. We'll find out together if he's electric as a head coach. Sean McKenzie said, what's up, Sean Mack? Says, what's up, Lou? First time I've caught you in a few days. Been a ton of client calls. I'm glad you're good out there, man. I'll scope your recent videos tonight. I know I missed it, but what are your thoughts on all of this? Yeah, I've already given it. Hit that playback. And I'm glad you are, and I'm glad you're back checking me out, man. Roger Arthur says, who do you want as a new OC? I've already talked about the new OC position and what I think is going to happen. So if you haven't seen it, check the playback. PIMP says, Redskins will do better or worse in 2017, 2018. That's all dependent on the moves made in the offseason and who they get as their defensive coordinator. So right now, can't answer that. Still got a lot of offseason to go. I'll tell you my thoughts on the Redskins offseason when we get to a point where we can start to assess the offseason. And then I'll be able to tell you right then and there what I think about the 2017-2018 season and the prospects for it. DMV Pride 10 says, Rams hiring McVay seemed like a desperate move. He just doesn't seem ready. Kyle Shanahan is by far the best candidate in the league. That may be true, but he blew them away in the interview process. If he wasn't ready mentally, he wouldn't have gotten the job. Okay, now, is he ready for the challenge? Obviously, we don't know this. And I've said that already. But mentally, is he ready? Well, he damn sure did kill the interview twice. Not once, twice he killed the interview. To the point where they said, this is our guy. We don't have to look any longer. This is the guy. So, there you have it. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 10 says, can an NFL team trade a coordinator? Sure they can, but why would they? If I'm another team, I can interview your coordinator if the other team gives me permission. If they say no, then that's the end of it. The Redskins wanted to interview the Cincinnati Bengals defensive coordinator, Paul Guenther. The Bengals said, no, you can't. The only way the Redskins could do that is if they were going to give him a promotion. That's the only way you don't need permission to interview another team's coach. But if it's a lateral move, then you need permission. And in the case of Paul Guenther, they said, hell no. He's our defensive coordinator. You can't have him. Now, if the Redskins wanted to give him assistant head coach along with his defensive coordinator title, then they could. But all the Cincinnati Bengals would have to do to match that and say, hey, he's now our assistant head coach and defensive coordinator. So it's that simple to box a team out. No one's trading for anyone's coordinator. It's not happening. K. Michael says, what's good, Louie? With the lack of picks this year, how realistic an improvement will they make in year 2? I think just the familiarity that they will gain in 1 year's time being in this offense will start to show in year 2. So despite the lack of picks, and look, it's not like they don't have an entire draft still. They just don't have a first-round pick. And I don't know if they did anything with their second-round pick, but I know they don't have a first-rounder because of the Jared Goff trade. Bottom line is, they're still going to draft players this year. They're still going to dip their toe in free agency and test the temperatures of that water. And if they come out with anything worth having in any of those two avenues, then you might have something to work with. You get a year under your belt in this offense. Everyone becomes more familiar with what Sean McVay is asking them to do in this offense. And all of a sudden, you can see vast improvement in year 2. And that's the way I approach it, and I'm pretty sure that's the way McVay and company are going to approach it as well in Los Angeles. Stephen Gomez says, do you think that this Redskins offseason will help us? Joe Barry getting fired is good, but McVay is gone is bad. I agree. I don't think it's going to help with the offense, but I don't think it's going to hurt us as much. It's not going to help us, definitely. You want to keep continuity. That's what the good teams in this league do. They keep guys around, but you can't keep a good man down, okay? Bottom line is, Sean McVay is really good at what he does. And when you have a guy that's really good at what he does, he's eventually going to get a job in this league. We saw it with Vance Joseph with the Miami Dolphins. You see it here with Sean McVay. If you're really good at what you do, you're going to get a head coaching job. It's the natural progression in this profession. So I'm happy for him. Jonathan Adams says, I just want to win in 2017. Don't we all? And Rarely Even says, Mike had a second interview, Mike Smith that is, with the Chargers. Biting my lip on this one. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm hearing rumors that they're really fascinated with Mike Smith, and he's killing these interviews. It's not looking good for your boys right now. I'm going to tell you right now. I told you it was one more hurdle you had to overcome. And I said if you could get past the Chargers, you're good. Those Chargers are really sniffing around your boy Mike Smith, man. So we're going to see what happens. They may be the next domino to drop with these head coaching hires. I figured the 49ers would be last because nobody wants that job. So you got to take what's left. Everybody's going to pick all the good jobs off, and then the 49ers get whatever's left. They get the table scraps. So we'll see what happens there. But in any event, it's going to do it for Sean McVay becoming the new man in Los Angeles. Big hire for the Los Angeles Rams as they get an offensive mind with a young team and a young quarterback that you spent all these resources on. You needed a guy to come in and coach him up, and Sean McVay is going to do exactly that. It's a big-time hire for them. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie T Network. Big loss for the Redskins, but I am so happy for Sean McVay. I wish him nothing but the best. I will be rooting for him in Los Angeles, except for when they play the Redskins. Other than that, man, I wish him nothing but the best in all of his future endeavors in Los Angeles. They got themselves a hell of an offensive mind. The question is, did they get themselves a hell of a head coach? We will see. Now, question is, how does he fill out this coaching staff? Is Wade Phillips soon to join him in Los Angeles? If he does, that's one hell of a hire there as well. Les Snead looks like he's going to be back as general manager in 2017. He's got some building to do with this roster. We'll see what happens. Rams hire Sean McVay, make him the youngest head coach in NFL history at the age of 30. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. Don't forget to subscribe to the Louie T Network on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at In The Lab Room, and also like the Facebook page In The Lab Room as well. I'm your man Louie T. I'm signing off. We're going to talk Chargers relocation to L.A., among other things, predictions for the weekend games. I got plenty more to come. I'll see you guys a little bit later on. Have a good one. Behave yourselves. I'll see you later.